Hey family, so the question for today is coming from John 7, okay? And it is verse, let me get to it, okay? So John 7:12. It says, among the crowd there was a widespread whispering about him. Some said he is a good man. Others replied, no, he deceived the people. But no one would say anything publicly about him for fear of the leaders. Okay, so the question is today is Jesus a good man, or is he deceiving us? Okay, so if you go down to verse 16 in chapter 7, it says, Jesus answered, my teachings are not my own. It comes from the one who sent me. Anyone who chooses to do the will of God will find out whether my teachings come from God or whether I speak on my own. Whoever speaks on their own does it so to gain personal glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. There is nothing false about him. Okay, so we are trying to see, right? Is Jesus speaking on his own for his own personal glory, right? Or is he really speaking truth on behalf of God? Okay, so let's keep going, okay? Let's keep investigating, okay? Because God says when somebody tell you something different than what he has already told you, to investigate, okay? So let's keep investigating. Okay, so if you go down a little bit further to verse 21, it says, Jesus said to them, I did one miracle and you all are amazed. Yet because Moses gave you circumcision, though actually it did not come from Moses, but from the patriarchs, you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. Now, if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Okay? So, this is what we're going to investigate, okay? We're investigating these words that Jesus said to see. Is these words spoken from God, or is this something he is doing for his own personal glory, okay? So one thing I want to point out is Jesus deflects a lot, okay? And deflecting is a trait of a narcissist, okay? I'm just saying that is a trait, and he deflects a lot. The other time he deflect was in, I believe it's Matthew 6. I believe it's Matthew 6. But, excuse me, it was when him and his men were out like in the field and they was picking food, okay? And the elders asked him, why are you allowing your men to pick food on the Sabbath, which is against the law, okay? And he deflected by saying, David broke the law by eating consecrated bread that was only for the priests, okay? So we had talked about that in the past, right? Because we went to that particular story, right? It's in Kings, I believe, First Kings or Second Kings, okay? David was on the run from Saul, okay? And so Saul was trying to find him to kill him. He was hiding, okay? And he ended up at this church, and David asked for regular bread, okay? And the pastor said, why are you by yourself? Why are you out here by yourself? And David said he was on a mission, okay? So he told David, I don't have regular bread, but I have some consecrated bread you can have if you kept yourself from a woman, okay? So the way Jesus puts it, in Matthew 6 is that he says that David and his men went and took the bread from the consecrated bread from the church, okay? But David was by himself and the priest offered it to him, okay? David didn't ask for that consecrated bread. He asked for regular bread, okay? But because the pastor didn't have any regular bread, he offered the bread to David with a stipulation that he was cleansed, that he hasn't been with a woman, okay? So that was the first time Jesus deflected when he was being called out for breaking the law, okay? So now he's being called out again for breaking the law, for healing a man on the Sabbath, okay? And he's saying it should be okay because the Israelites circumcised their boys on the Sabbath, so it should be okay for him to heal on the Sabbath, okay? So let's break that down. Okay, so in the book of Jubilee, chapter 15, verses 13, it tells you that everybody should be circumcised, okay? If you have any children that are male, they should be circumcised. If you bought anybody, like you own anybody that works for you, they should be circumcised. It says every male should be circumcised, right? Whom you bought with money will be circumcised, okay? Everybody born in your house and everybody you bought has to be circumcised. That's what it says in 13, okay? And if you drop down to 25, it says, the law is for all generations forever. It never ends, okay? And there is no circumcision of the days and no omission of one day out of the 8, okay? So God commands us to circumcise every male child on the 8th day after he was born, okay? And he says, there are no omissions of a day, okay? So he's basically telling us that if the 8th day happens to fall on the Sabbath, it is okay because this law trumps, that law when it comes to that, okay? So he's basically showing us that the only thing that is allowed to be done on the Sabbath is for you to circumcise your boy. He says, no omission of the day out of the 8, for it is an eternal ordinance ordained and written on the heavenly tables, and everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongs not to the children of the covenant which the Lord made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there, moreover, any sign on him that he is the Lord's, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth and to be rooted out of the earth, for he has broken the covenant of the Lord, okay? So God is telling us that the only thing that you are allowed to do on the Sabbath, okay, if it happens to fall on there, okay? He's not telling you to circumcise on the Sabbath, but he's saying if the 8th day just happened to fall, it is okay because this law is more important, right? That's what it says. It says no omission of the days, okay? Right. So then you go to Jubilee 50, verse 7. It says 6 days you will do labor, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord, okay, your God, and you shall do no manner of work. You and your sons and your men servants, your maid servants, and all your cattle, and the sojourners also who is with you. And man that does any work on it shall die. Whoever desecrates the day, whoever lies with his wife, whoever says he will do something on it, and he will set out on a journey thereunto in regards to buy or sell it, and whoever draws water thereon which had not been prepared for him on the 6th day, and whoever takes up any burden to carry it out of the tent of his house shall die, okay? He's saying everything should be prepared the day before and not on the Sabbath, okay? And if you look in the book, during when they was in the wilderness, God gave them extra on the 6th day okay, so that they wouldn't be out looking for food on the seventh, right? So he gave them extra manna the day before because he said he wouldn't work and provide food for them on the Sabbath, okay? So if God considered providing manna work, then doing miracles should be work